Ike McAllister spurred hard for the two renegades galloping dead ahead. Early spring mud flew from his horse's hooves as he closed on his prey. He felt the familiar sense of cold fury come over him. His parents' killers had eluded him for far too long. Ike slapped his reins left and right on Allie's neck, something he'd rarely ever done, even during the war. He'd catch these murderers like he'd caught the others, or die trying. The nearest outlaw turned in his saddle, and the setting sun glimmered off the fugitive's pistol. A shot rang out, and a bullet whistled past Ike's cheek. Ike yanked Allie's reins and dove off the horse as she slowed. Tumbling on the ground, he grabbed for his gun. The men ahead also pulled up. Nobody had ever outrun Allie. There was no proper cover for miles on the windswept Kansas mesa. Last year's knee-high brown grasses served as woefully inadequate concealment for both hunter and hunted. Ike's brother Rob fired his Winchester from behind Ike, then leapt off his horse as well and landed next to his older brother. One of the fugitives appeared as a dark form backlit against the lowering afternoon sun as he pulled his horse down in front of him. Ike steadied his gun hand with his other arm and drew a bead on him with his long-barreled Colt .44. His first shot missed, but came close enough to motivate the outlaw to drop toward the ground. But before the killer disappeared from sight, Ike's rapid-fire second shot hit him square in the chest. The sharp report of gunfire echoed over the gently rolling hills. "Damn!" the fallen outlaw howled to his partner hidden nearby. "They got me, Johnny!" Wind carried the wounded man's plaintive voice over the still landscape. Moving grasses gave away the other killer's location as he crawled toward his stricken companion. Rob fired twice into the center of the shifting grass, then knelt down, rifle at the ready. The grasses resumed a gentler movement with the wind. Ike kept his breathing steady and stayed as still as possible. Rob took short breaths beside him. One of the bandits pleaded. "Johnny, you okay? Johnny, I'm hurt bad. Johnny!" Then silence. Ike waited. He held his pistol well out in front of him, pointed in the direction of the men's last sounds. After a crouching walk, he found them both motionless in the grass, 10 feet apart. The one Ike had shot lay curled up, eyes fixed on nothing, a still hand on his chest. As Ike turned to the outlaw Rob hit, the killer swung his six-shooter up and fired. The bullet buried itself deep in Ike's thigh and knocked him to the ground. Before Ike could return fire, Rob pumped 3 shots into the murderer. Smoke trailed lazily from his rifle barrel, and a breezy quiet reclaimed the land. Ike struggled to his feet with a hand to his leg and limped to where the shooter lay dead. Imaginary artillery shells boomed all around him, and a cold sweat traveled down his back. Too close a call, but there had been too many close calls in his life. The odds were increasing that one of these would put him down for good. His breathing slowed, and the shells went silent. Rob shouted from behind. "He's dead, ain't he, Ike?" Ike answered without looking back at his brother. "Well, if not breathing qualifies as dead, then he's dead." Ike flung his hat to the ground. Nothing was as it should be. The war had destroyed nearly everything he once knew. There wasn't much left inside him either. He stumbled slightly, but caught himself with a hand on Rob's shoulder. He eyed the body sprawled at his feet, with 2 holes in the brown leather vest. Then his gaze traveled back to the other murderer. Neither one was Manning. His fury faded to resignation. "You're too good a shot, Rob. Wish you would have just wounded this one. Maybe we could have found something new about Manning. But you dropped him cold. Damn!" He yelled into the empty Kansas air.